He's Mike Sando, back on the program, senior NFL writer at The Athletic, and he has ranked the quarterbacks, different tiers here. So it's not ranking them. Now, this is yearly that he does this. And for the first time since 2016, only 3 quarterbacks landed in Tier 1. Aaron Rodgers not there for the first time in the 11-year history that he's been doing it. Mike, good to see you again. Now, based on your rankings, the lowest ranked quarterback who will start week 1 is who?
Probably Jacoby Brissett, if I just scroll all the way down. Jacoby Brissett is just seen as a really great backup quarterback and somebody you wouldn't probably want to have start the whole season. So it may be a little unfair to compare him to the other guys that are earning a lot more money, but we wanted to have all the veteran starters represented. And I think that probably accurate reflects how even the Patriots feel about him. They want him to start, but probably not for too long.
Did you think about putting Mahomes on his own tier?
Well, I did. First off, to do this ranking, I talked to 50 coaches and execs in the league, 7 GMs, 8 head coaches, a dozen coordinators, bunch of people. So it's their rankings really based on their criteria that I've gleaned from them. And one of the comments was from one of the guys I spoke with, can we have a tier 0 for Mahomes? Because I think Mahomes is different historically, Dan. If you look at the multiple championship winning quarterbacks, you can start Bradshaw, Joe Montana, get into Aikman, Favre, Brady. They usually did it with not just good defenses, but elite. The 49ers led the league in fewest points allowed in the 80s. People don't really know that. Mahomes in 19 and 22 won the Super Bowl on teams that weren't even top half of the league. And then last year's defense was good, and he was able to win it without as good of an offense. But that is a differentiator to me, not just among the quarterbacks playing today, but it's hard to find guys who win multiple championships without really good defenses. That's why that's why Rodgers and Breeze, great quarterbacks, Hall of Famers, 1 ring each. That was the missing component. They couldn't overcome it. Mahomes has.
So you have 3 quarterbacks on tier 1. Mahomes, and then the other 2 quarterbacks?
Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, with Lamar Jackson just next, missing tier 1 by about 3 votes.
But if I factor in turnovers here with Josh Allen, like how do you quantify the turnovers? Yeah. And he's had more turnovers than any other quarterback.
I don't think whenever I talk to coaches or executives, they never start talking about stats. They're not the number one reason that Allen wasn't higher and unanimous. He got 11 votes lower than tier 1 was because of the turnovers. Sometimes he just risks the football too much. They do feel, though, he can not only carry an offense. One of the key components of tier 1 for people in the league is how expertly do you handle the pure pass situations, meaning we strip away the run game. We even strip away your scrambling. Can you drop back to win the game when we're down and throw and throw and throw? And they do feel that not only Mahomes, but Burrow and Allen do that just a tick better than the other quarterbacks that are below them in the league.
Guys who play the position, they love Burrow. Like the sample size isn't as big for me as I think it needs to be to look at his greatness. I mean, we saw it in college, obviously. They did get to the Super Bowl. He's been banged up a little bit, but it's amazing how these former quarterbacks look at him and they see something, Montana-like special, really, really special. Obviously not Mahomesian, but what is it about Burrow that makes him, one of the, 2 best quarterbacks in the league, or 3?
Toughness, swag, and just incredible passing ability. I think he's really just has an amazing feel for the game. The defensive guys marvel about him too. More than one defensive coordinator told me about the time their team played him, beat the snot out of him, hit him, and the defensive linemen are coming back to the coach going, "Oh my gosh, this is a real guy." So I think he really does have, he checks a lot of boxes. Now, the worry is he takes too many hits and he's had too many injuries.
Yeah.
Usually the great quarterbacks don't miss games. I mean, even, these guys who play for a long time, they have 200 starts in a row if they're Rivers or some of the Eli, some of these
Favre,
guys,
yeah,
or
yeah.
yeah, Favre. And so that's the weird thing. One defensive coach who's played him a number of times said the guy doesn't fall right. I don't know if there's some science to that, but usually these guys like Burrow have such a great feel for the game that they kind of avoid some of those injuries.
How do you evaluate Brock Purdy?
Well, so Brock Purdy moved up 13 spots from last year. He was a little bit of a provisional guy last year because he didn't have as many starts coming in. But here's what I think. Everybody points to Kyle Shanahan and the weaponry, and I think that's rightly so. But if you're just a consistent producer, you're going to move solidly into tier two. And if he were to do this for 10 years straight, he'd probably find his way into tier one. But when people play him, they're not like, oh my God, there's not some amazing superpower that he has that wows you. You just can't discount the production when it's that good and consistent. So I think that's why he's in tier two. He's kind of in the bottom half of tier two. I bet you he could come up to the middle, but I do see a little bit of a line. If you look at the first four guys in tier two, Lamar, Herbert, Stafford, Rodgers, those guys are like, it's a debate. They get a ton of tier oneers, tier one votes. I'm not sure Purdy. We'll see if Purdy is going to get that. Maybe he leads him to a Super Bowl win, and that does it.
If I think we looked at the numbers the other day. Mahomes has had the best start of a career, I think, of any quarterback in the modern era. Uh,
Yep.
but if I look at him and Brady at 27, 28 years of age, is that a fair comparison? Like, is Brady second to Mahomes if we look at that first, 5 years, 6 years in the league?
I think he is because I think the composition of that New England team, they were so good defensively from the start. And he was amazing. And let's not, I mean, we're comparing a Ferrari and a Lamborghini here. So we're not discounting Tom Brady at all. But I do look at degree of difficulty. And to me, the way you look at that is just what are the things that the quarterback can't control and influence? Yeah, you can put your defense in a better position or a worse position, but that is what I look at. Defense and even special teams was lights out, I think, for most of the Belichick era. So to me, it's been a little bit higher degree of difficulty with probably more placed on the quarterback earlier. I think the way the mobility of Mahomes and his resourcefulness that way, has probably put a little bit more of it on his back than it was for Brady that early. You look at Tom Brady going along when they get to '07 and they had the weaponry, then I think he, was really putting it on his shoulders more.
Talking to Mike Sando, senior NFL writer at The Athletic, and 11-year history of ranking these quarterbacks in different tiers. And for the first time in the 11-year history, Aaron Rodgers is not in that tier one. How do you assess Rodgers now, or how did the coaches assess Rodgers?
Yeah. I think most people feel that if he's healthy, he's still a top tier quarterback, but he got votes in like four tiers. I mean, it's kind of silly, but there's a lot of uncertainty. There's some feeling among people that, hey, he wasn't quite as good at the end of Green Bay, then doesn't last very long, new environment, whole season on turf. I'll sort of believe it when I see it. So a good number of people, I think 23 put him in tier one, but 18 people that put him in tier two were probably thinking that I'm just going to knock him down a tier because there is some uncertainty. And then there was a minority of people, 9, that put him lower than that. And I think they're saying, hey, the decline has started. It's going to be hard for him to recapture what he was. So we'll see. I can't wait. That's one of the things this season you just can't wait for is like what Rodgers are going to get.
How do you look at the rookie quarterbacks?
So Caleb Williams would be the one I think people are most excited about and optimistic about. And then I do believe that it would be Jaden Daniels next. And then I feel like there's a split on May. Just some of the people that I've talked to, you get a little bit more of disagreement of how good they think he can be. And then you go on to Penix, who I personally really liked him and just as a passer in college, but it seems like a lot of people think he's more of a finished product and they wonder how much better he's going to get. So we'll see about that. JJ McCarthy, I think we're just going to have to wait on. And then Bo Nix it's really all the fit with Peyton. I think if you like Bo Nix, you like Sean Payton, and you're betting on that combination more than necessarily the skill set of Bo Nix or anything like that.
Well, a lot of good stuff, a lot of good information here. It's at The Athletic, and it's Mike Sando's column, senior NFL writer there. Good to talk to you again, Mike. Good luck. Have fun in the upcoming season.
Thank you. You too.
That's Mike Sando, and joined The Athletic. He spent 12 years, I think, at the mothership, a Pro Football Hall of Fame voter.